Hi guys, it's Mr. Gran, and this is a video on solving triangles when you're given side, side, side. So we would need to find all three angles using the law of cosines, using one of the versions of it. So here we go. I've got my sides are 13, 10, and 5. And so I might want to start this setting up a triangle, A, B, C, little a, little b, little c, and plugging in the information that I have. So A is 13, B is 10, and C is 5. And with me as always is my, my little calculator caddy here, Odin. Alright, so I've got the three sides. I need to start figuring out what the angles are. I need to use the law of cosines. And the law of cosines, the form of it that we use for finding an angle looks like this. Cosine of A is equal to its opposite side, which is A squared. So if I'm looking for this top angle first, A, I need to start with the opposite side, which is 13. A squared minus the other two sides, B squared and C squared, all over -2 times the other two sides, B and C. That's the form of the equation we're going to be using. So starting at A, for angle A, I'm going to say cosine of A is equal to A squared, which is 13 squared minus the other two sides, 10 squared minus 5 squared, all over -2 times the other two sides, 10 and 5. And that's going to look something like this. Can you hand me the calculator, bud? Oh, can you hand it to me? Thank you. Alright, so 13 squared minus 10 squared minus 5 squared divided by -2 times 10 times 5, and I get -0.44. That's how it looks in my calculator. I do the numerator and then divide whatever that is by the denominator. Yeah, different ways you can put it in, but it doesn't really matter. So cosine of A is equal to, in this case, -0.44. Now, anytime I'm trying to find an angle, I've got cosine of A equals something, I need to use inverse cosine. So A is equal to cosine inverse of -0.44. So second cosine inverse, -0.44. And I get that it's equal to about 116 degrees, 116.1. And your teacher will have probably a specific criteria for how they want you to round, so just listen to them. I'm going to do this in exact quantities for mine, which is going to be the most accurate, so it should be satisfactory for any teacher. Alright, so then we got angle A. Now angle B. Cosine of B is equal to, I need to start out with the 10 now. That's the first letter I'm going to use, even though, you know, now the letters are mixed up, but it doesn't really matter. Cosine of B, I want to start with that opposite side, so 10 squared minus the other two sides, 13 squared and 5 squared, over -2 times 13 times 5. So 10 squared minus 13 squared minus 5 squared is -94, divided by, in parentheses, -2 times 13 times 5. And I get this, about 0.7, excuse me, about 0.72. So cosine of B is approximately 0.72. Your teacher might want you to round to the nearest hundredth or the nearest thousandths, or even just use the answer button to plug that into your calculator if you want to do an exact value. But again, I want to take the inverse cosine of 0.72, or thereabouts. Inverse cosine, and I'm going to use the answer button on my TI-84, so it'll give me an exact answer, which is, or a more exact answer, which is about 43.69. B is 43.69 degrees. Now for C, all I have to do is subtract these from 180. I could use like law of sines or law of cosines or whatever, but it's probably just as easy for C to do 180 minus 116.1 minus 43.69, and that's going to be 20.21.
Mommy, the fire department knocked over our signs, Daddy. The fire department.
And that is a solved triangle. We've got all three sides and all three angles.